It helps wonderfully.
Oh my God, you guys, this is like a little overwhelming. I don't usually even have this many people on live with me when I do Happy Businessing with Suze. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous over here. So I guess I should just start. For those of you that don't know, I'm Susan Fessenden. My company is Profit Logics. And I have a little live show that I do in WEN and Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs and SBO United. And I try to do my show everywhere at one time using StreamYard. So my overall reach is about 600,000 business owners in all of these different groups. And I am yet to find the perfect time slot, but I still am going live. So right now you can see it's dark out. It's about 11:15 here, not too late, not as late as sometimes when I'm doing my stuff. So a little bit about me. I have 25 years of actual hands-on business management experience. My career started in accounting. And then I found that I really wanted to be someone that drove the numbers instead of just told the story of the numbers. And so I got involved in operations. And then I realized I was probably doing the wrong thing all along. And that really my real passion is culture building in small businesses. It's a really great way to, blow up your business by building a strong culture within. So that's kind of a theme that I always have going on. And I started Profit Logics just under 2 years ago here in Tokyo. And I knew that I couldn't just do consulting anymore. There's only one of me, and I want to help all of you. And for me to, kind of duplicate myself and make myself more accessible, I knew that I needed something that could help lots and lots of businesses at one time. So I sat down with my own coach, hired a coach here. She's amazing. Everyone probably needs a coach, just saying. But I sat down and I was telling her, I'm like, look, from all that I've seen in all of these small businesses that I've worked in, it's just not that complicated. It comes down to 4 or 5 key things in your business. And if you can pay attention and develop those 4 or 5 things, most likely you're going to be okay. And she put me on the spot. She's like, well, what are they? I'm like, well, shoot. Okay. And I got to work. I started blurting them out. And I'm like, well, you need a strong sense of identity. You need to know where you're going, and everyone in your organization needs to know where you're going. You need to have a clear view of your offerings that also should be aligned with your identity, so everyone understands them, right? And, you need to have the investment in how you do things too. So everything on the operations side, your systems and your processes and your tools in your business. And then I kind of stopped for a minute and I was like, God, I kind of feel like something's still missing. And it took me a little time, but what I realized, it's accountability. Okay, so those are the 4 or 5 key things that I decided to focus on. And that's where I came up with my 5 business questions. So let me see if I can share my screen and get going. All right, can you guys see that? Let me see some nods.
Yes.
All right. These ladies, and I think there's a gentleman or 2 in here. These are my 5 business questions. And it's the who are we? What do we do? Where are we going? How do we get there? And are we on track? Those are them right there. You guys want to follow up? You can find me at profitlogics.com. Nice and simple. And if you guys have ever seen me, I don't do a lot of promotion. It's not really my thing. But Haley thought that I should let you guys know I do have a boot camp coming. So if something from today sparks interest in you, or you want to dive in a little bit more, I actually have a workshop coming up in October. And we're not going to hit all of the 5 business questions in depth, but we are going to give you my 5 business plan template, and we're going to dive into 2 or 3 components of each of them. So if you're interested in that, again, you can go to profitlogics.com, go to the Plan and Grow Bootcamp, and check out more information there. All right, so the first one, who are we? Well, this includes the identity of your business. And a lot of times it's not clear, maybe to the outside world, who your business is. Maybe you're really strong as far as enforcing or reinforcing that internally with your team. But it has to be clear to everybody. It has to be clear to the outside world, your customers, your vendors, and your employees. And the more you can leverage your identity, the easier pretty much everything else is in your business. And actually, it ends up acting as sort of like a backbone to the rest of your 5 business questions if you have a strong identity. And we'll dig into that a little bit more right now. So the key components of the who are we, what's our identity, is everyone's familiar with a mission statement.
Yes.
They're useful. They may be useful in some, preliminary identification of what you do, what problem you solve, who you solve it for, right? But I think that mission statements are lacking a lot of oomph. So more companies are focusing on creating a purpose statement. And you'll know people like Simon Sinek are talking about start with a why, right? So this is your purpose. And then I wanted to add even more oomph. And so I call it the purpose beyond profit. And a lot of people are like, of course I know the purpose of my business. I'm here to make money. Well, that sounds really lame to me. And it overlooks the greater impact and the ripple effect that you and your business has day in and day out. Okay, so the purpose beyond profit ends up acting as like your mission statement on steroids if developed correctly. And then I'm a strong believer in core values, and not just core values that you're slapping up on your wall, not just core values to slap up on your website, but core values that you live and breathe by day in and day out, and not just you. I incorporate core values with my vendor contracts. I incorporate core values in my interviewing and hiring processes, employee onboarding. It should be a part, every time someone comes in, I'm assuming Haley's handling those admits to the room.
I'm getting them.
Thank you. The core values are only going to be effective if they're real and if they're meaningful and lived and breathed every day, day in and day out in your business by everyone in your business. And so a lot of the work I do is helping small businesses integrate the core values in their day-to-day business. And everyone in the business needs to act as stewards of those core values in every interaction, okay? And then, of course, part of the who are we is knowing who your target market is. So there's always some work done on that. And, I'm not all about doing things new ways. The SWOT analysis is your friend, people. It's an oldie but goodie. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You're looking at internal and external forces in your business. And you can literally do this on your own, and it's really smart to start doing this work. What are the strengths of your businesses? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are out there? And what are the external threats to your company? So for instance, some of the people that I'm working with, they'll have a lot of reliance on maybe some are digital nomads. Okay, I'll use this as an example. And so they have a business concept and they have all the wherewithal to create a business, but they're lacking this sense of stability as far as location for a while. And so that is, either a weakness of the business or a threat. And you can do things once you do your SWOT analysis and you identify what they are. The next step is then to come up with how you're going to mitigate or remove each one. Okay, so SWOT analysis leveled up is one that after you're done doing it, coming up with your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, you're going through each and every one of those items and you're saying, now, how am I going to, eliminate that from the playbook? What's my plan on that? And that really takes a SWOT analysis to a whole new place and ends up becoming a more powerful tool for you guys. And then if you want to know thyself, you need to know thy competition, you guys. So spend some time. I go a little cuckoo and probably overly thorough when I'm doing a competition matrix. But even minimal work is going to help you. And it's not like, you're going in there so you can make a list of your competitors. I actually just do it in Excel. And so I have the companies, and then I have categories across the top, like where are they region specific? Can I figure out what they're offering and how it's different from mine? What's their differentiation? Can I tell what their pricing is? You know, what's the look and feel of their website even? Comparing them across many different categories, all the competitors that you can find in your space. It's not about, you know, stealing from them. It's not about, you know, trying to, you know, take anything from them. It's that, one, you can learn a lot from your competitors. You can see opportunities that maybe you didn't see before. And it's also a part of insulating from some of maybe the SWOT analysis work that you did. But knowing what's going on out there is really important. And as a side note, wow, me doing all the talking makes me out of breath. I'm taking one of those breaths that Elizabeth talked about. Thank you. I see you. I see you. So it's about understanding what's out there. And then what I see a lot of small companies doing is they do it like one time and then they never do it again. And then a year or two later, all of a sudden, some new company comes out from nowhere. And oh my gosh, they seem more powerful than your company. They maybe or have a bigger team, they have more resources, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. So it's important that all of this stuff you're doing, but especially the competition matrix, you're revisiting it regularly so you can update it, see what else is out there. And I'm not talking about spending 30, 40 hours doing market research for a traditional business plan. I'm talking about like even basic stuff that you can do pretty easily. Go online and do some searches, see who comes up and see what they're up to, just so you have an idea of what's going on out there. And then when you get through most of these aspects, this is kind of what I'm showing you guys today on the 5 business questions is all phase 1. So it's really for businesses from concept to maybe like year 2. Okay, so this is all early phase stuff. As your business grows, it, you know, we accelerate, and there's other things that we work on. But once you get through the majority of your who are we and your what do we do and your where are we going, then you can do that fun part, which is branding, and finding a branding partner that understands your vision and understands your purpose, your core values, all of it. Okay, so doing this work in advance is going to help them create the visual of your brand that really, you know, reflects who you are. And, you know, I know a lot of people are on tight budgets, especially in these early phases. And, you know, if you need to go on Fiverr and get, you know, $100 logo for now, that's fine. But don't forget to come back when you're able and go ahead and invest the money in having a full, you know, branding package done that every time you look at it, you're like, that's my business. And you're like, oh, I love that. I love that. That really exudes who we are and what we're about. And your customers are going to feel that way too when they see it. Okay, so it's more than just a logo. It is your external impression that you're making on everyone out there. All right, where are we at for time? Okay. So the next one, what do we do? I know you're all thinking, duh, Susan, we know what we're doing. But do you? Do you really? I have worked with a lot of businesses that their whole strategy is that they're going to try to be everything to everyone. They think that if they offer services over here in this market, or products, this kind of product, and this kind of product, and this kind of product, that means they're going to scoop up all these different areas of revenue and they're going to win. Well, from my experience as a financial controller and VP of Ops, let me tell you, there are all sorts of potholes in the way when you try to do that. And, you know, things from trying to manage too many SKUs in your business means you're probably going to carry too much inventory. You're probably going to have too many processes to actually fulfill orders and get things out. You're probably going to have quality issues, right? How can you, if you have 5,000 different products, you're going to need quality and, you know, quality assurance processes for each product, right? So you can see that expanding your offerings beyond your purpose, your core values, and your mission really end up not making sense. But there's also the flip side. I've worked with companies that want to be so niched that they're actually missing opportunities, like low-hanging fruit. Like, why aren't you doing this? If you just made this slight, feature in this app, you can really increase your reach and really solve a lot more problems for your key people. So that is some of the work regarding the what do we do. It's defining your products and services while still ensuring they're aligned with and fully leveraging the identity work that you did within your market. Okay. So what I would say is, when you're thinking of offering something new or adding something, you need to go back to your purpose beyond profit. You need to go back to your core values. You need to go back to your target market and really ask yourself, is this still aligned? Does this actually make sense? Or is this now going to confuse the market? Are they going to be like, what? Wait, you guys do that too? Have you guys ever had a company and you find out that they do something that's like completely different than what you thought they did, and then you're kind of like, huh, I didn't know you guys did that. Weird. And it just confuses your customers. It confuses everybody. So make sure that your offerings are aligned. And as you're doing this work, obviously there's some questions you have to make sure you continue to ask as you're developing and as you're rolling them out. Does your market really need it? Do they know that they need it? Like, I know for me, right, with Profit Logics, I created these 5 business questions, right? And I'm going to help bring a framework to people to grow their businesses. But you guys don't know you need this. I know you need it, right? I have 25 years of experience. I know for sure that my market needs it. But my market doesn't know they need it. So what do I have to do? It means that it doesn't mean I'm not going to have the offering. I'm still going to have the offering, but it means I know going into it that it means that I have to spend a lot of time and money on education and awareness of my market to help them understand, how this tool can impact them, right? So asking these questions early on is important. Always ask, what's the impact of these products and what it looks like when the problem that you're solving is solved. So asking yourself that with the what do we do is important. All right, I added some little helpful tips. Yes, so we already covered this. Is this still aligned? So always asking yourself as you're, going into adjacent markets, or as you're doing, a new feature, or you're adding a new service or product, is this still aligned with your purpose? Is this still aligned with your core values and your mission? And if not, it's most likely just going to distract you. It's going to disrupt your business. It's going to confuse everybody. It's actually going to delay your success. All right. I have to take a breath. I don't know how you guys do this, talking for like an hour straight. My God. I see some of you laughing. That's good.
That's because I keep a drink on my desk and take a breath and a drink and whew.
Yeah, totally. Well, some of you guys may have seen Happy Businessing with Susan. I was always interviewing other people, right? Really smart because I didn't have to do all the talking. And then now I've kind of nixed that because it was taking too much work. And now it's just me, but I'm only doing like 20, 25 minutes. So this is a lot. All right. I see a few of you. I see a few of your faces. I'm going to go full grid for a minute. I'm just going to do a check-in. How you guys doing? Can I get a nod if any of this is good stuff? Like, what are you thinking? I see a couple nods. I like that. Good, good, good. Oh, a thumbs up. Thank you, Patty. Fun. I love seeing you guys. That's so cool. All right. So the next one is one of my most fun. This is really when I just feel like I have the best job in the whole wide world. It is helping businesses with their vision. It's the where are we going? So we're going to spend an extra couple slides on this one. And I'm hoping that this really gets you guys thinking, okay? Because this is the gold. It's the good stuff. So when I think of a vision for a company, I'm not talking about some cute little vision statement, right? Like mission statements and vision statements, I'm done with you. I want to bring power to what we're doing. Bring power to what you're doing. Make it real, okay? This is, so many people say business isn't personal. Oh, this isn't personal. It's just business. Bullshit. Business is personal. We are pouring ourselves into these endeavors, and it's meaningful, and there's an impact. So spend some time on your vision and really look forward. So when you do some vision work for like a traditional business plan, no one asks you how you feel about it. How does that make you feel when you think of the future and the future of this business? I do. You know why? Because it's your baby. It's your baby. It's your vision. It's your life. It's your lifestyle that's impacted, as well as all the people that you touch in your business. Okay. So I start with the end game, and we look at lifestyle, and we capture your personal fluffy dreams and your desires, but also, the nitty-gritty details, the financial requirements, and develop highly detailed financial projections. I did a happy businessing with Suze about this, and I actually let you guys into my Geek accounting world, where I showed you mine. I took some of my numbers out, but I showed you my actual financial projections in Excel. And you could see that I had 3 phases built in, and I went all the way out to 2035. Like, go to town with it. All right. So let's get started. What is your end game, you guys? I think a lot of people get into a business and they think, oh, this will be a really good way to support my family. But they're not really thinking about what's next and what's the end goal. So you want to be asking yourself, is this going to be a legacy business? Is this something that you want to bring into your family and pass on to your kids and have live on beyond you? Do you see in the future some sort of M&A activity? Are you going to sell it? Do you think maybe there'll be opportunities to merge with another company and expand your reach and impact? Is this something you think is going to go public? Because if so, that actually changes pretty much everything, right? And you actually have a lot more robust business planning that you need to do. Or is this a lifestyle business? There's nothing wrong with having a lifestyle business, but it's important to acknowledge what it is and what it isn't. A lifestyle business means I'm not necessarily trying to scale this thing up, blow it up, or I'm going to have a bunch of employees and then, try to, make a massive, I can't think of the word now. Anyway, lifestyle business just means that it is basically supporting your lifestyle and your lifestyle needs and your personal financial goals. And if that's what it is, then fine, build it accordingly. And when you're doing this visioning work, you sometimes really just need to close your eyes and do a little bit of dreaming and ask yourself, what does it look like in the future? What does it feel like in the future? From culture of the business to your lifestyle and your involvement. So I like to combine the fluffy, dreamy stuff with the detailed, rigorous financial projections. And when I marry the two together, I feel really good that it's a solid plan for people for the future. So usually when I work with someone, I actually have them close their eyes. Think 20 years ahead. I know this sounds ridiculous. I remember in my 20s, could not even do that. I wouldn't be able to even do that exercise because I couldn't see life ahead 5 years. But just for giggles, think 20 years ahead in your business and in your life. Where are you living? Who's with you? Who's around you? Are you still involved with this business? How? How much are you involved? If so, what is the culture of that business like? Describe it. Like, how many employees do you have? Is this thing operating without you? Do you just check in every once in a while because it's still your baby? Or are you involved in the day-to-day in some way? And when you're doing this dreamy, fluffy thinking about the future, how is that business 20 years from now impacting people, the world, the community? I know it sounds fluffy. 20 years, what? But guess what? I have this for my business. I know exactly where I'm going with Profit Logics, and it helps. Now, it doesn't mean I can't change. Doesn't mean I don't change the path. I've already tweaked things a couple times. You can tweak things and update your plan, but it's about having a very clear vision for the future because, oh, I'm going to give you a RuPaul. I'm going to give you a RuPaul. Because if you don't have a plan, how the hell are you going to make it happen? Can I get an amen? Sorry, RuPaul's Drag Race, you guys. It's good stuff.
Amen.
Seriously. Thank you, Haley. All right, seriously though, if you can't envision it, it's not going to effing happen. Okay? You have to like do this work, think about the future, try to envision it because that's your best shot. Okay? At least if you can bring shape to it in your mind and then put it down on paper, put it into your business plan document, you are miles ahead of the rest in actually being able to execute. So going back to my super geek projections, I even have my phases written out. So what do I mean by that? Well, for Profit Logics, I have 3 very distinct phases that I already know I am already planning. And it's a good thing I did this work. You know why? Because I find myself constantly wanting to jump to phase 3. And I find myself constantly wanting to jump to phase 2. But because I did this planning and because I understand that I have certain metrics that are happening before I can move on to the next phase, it helps keep me in line. My own plan ends up helping me as a guiding force stay on the path. Okay. So my first phase is this. I have this goal of helping 150 small businesses, right? Phase 2, I'm actually flipping the whole thing. I'm shifting everything about Profit Logics, and I'm actually going to be helping business coaches and business advisors use the 5 business questions for their small business clients. Okay. So everything about my business in phase 2 is going to change, and that's okay. My target market's going to change. How I deliver what I do is going to change. You know, there's going to be different processes and technology and systems in place. That's okay, because guess what, you guys? I've got a plan. I have a plan so I can see how I'm going to make this happen. And then in phase 3, when certain metrics are met, I'm starting a nonprofit to do the same kind of work, okay? But it's all real and it's still exciting to me because it's a part of my projections. It's a part of my plan. I've taken the fluffy dreams and I've made them real on paper as well as in numbers. So as you're doing this work, imagine like when each of these phases are going to occur. What are the metrics that you're going to need to know when to cue that next phase, when to start prepping, right? And don't stop asking yourself what the culture looks like each time you have a phase change in your business, because it's important. Because guess what? A culture that is not designed by intention ends up creating itself and you lose control, okay? And then the culture can go awry. Crappy managers, you know, turnover, all sorts of issues that come with a poor culture, you know, no brand loyalty from your customers, okay? So it's important that with each phase of your business, you're not just thinking about the phases in and of themselves. You need to think about how will the culture change when we do this big shift to phase 2 or phase 3, okay?
Can you repeat that, the thing you said, culture, what the culture is not design? If you don't design the culture, can you repeat that?
Sure. Well, I don't know if I'll remember the same words, but basically, you know, cultures of every company just exist, right? When you get a group of people working together, there's a culture that just emerges naturally, okay? Mm-hmm. It can be a good culture or it can be a toxic culture. It can be a slightly dysfunctional, but we make do culture. But if you are not designing your culture with intention, like from the beginning and looking forward to each of these phases, you're most likely to have a culture that is, you know, just organically made. And that means you're open to issues, you know, employee issues, customer issues, quality issues, you know, a lot of things are derivative of company culture, right?
Yeah.
So when, sorry, did that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I just feel like culture in small businesses is really missing. So culture is like a tool that big companies have, right? We have PhDs in organizational psychology coming into these large companies doing big sweeping culture changes, right? They know exactly what to do. Okay. It starts with upper management, and then they have a system for, integrating that with everyone. It's sort of like it's like a re-education of everybody, right? These big shifting culture changes, right? But small businesses often fail to get to leverage culture in their business as something that will really propel their business forward, because they don't have all those tools, available to them. They don't really, sometimes they haven't even really considered like what company culture is, right? But you can start building a beautiful culture in your company that basically insulates you and mitigates so many other issues in your company. But we can talk about that more. I could talk about that for an hour just straight. So as you're looking at your vision, be sure to build these phases into your projections as you go. Checking the time. And then this is just something I made on the fly. It's not very pretty, but it's something I made on the fly for someone that I was about to interview. And it was really funny because I was asking him before the show, as part of the show prep, what's your vision? And he literally could not bring words to it. So I threw this together really quick for him, ran him through it, and got some stuff out of him. But it's just another example of how you can very quickly do this on your own. So just as you would project out revenue and offering types, right? Like revenue type 1, 2, 3, 4, what's your EBITDA, your earnings before interest, tax, and amortization, depreciation, amortization, or what are your personal income goals for all these different years, right? Just as you can plunk numbers in there, you can ask yourself these questions for each of those years too. So what's your reputation? When people think of your business, what do they think of, right? When people, how is your time spent, right? What is your time allocation between your business and your other interests? Most of the people I talk to, they want to hold on to their business 5 or 10 years. And at a certain point, they want to be hanging out on the beach and playing golf, right? That's fine. But figure out what your allocation is. Is 20% of your time being spent on the business? More? How big is the team? Who's on your team? What are their roles? Do you have multiple locations at this point? Other products? Who are your customers? Because just like with my business, right? When I have phase 2 change, my customer is totally changing. I mean, I'm always still going to work with small businesses 101 because I love it. But the main point of my business, my entire, target market's changing, right? All right. Okay, so we're coming around the bend. So we went through the who are we? What do we do? Where are we going? And then we have all the how do we do it? How do we get there? And this is something that if you're just at conception phase of your business, it's going to be light. The work you do here is light. The work you do here is more like outlining what systems and processes are going to be needed. But as that business starts to come into fruition, you have to be more rigorous with planning on this part. So this is all about the execution, you guys, all the processes, the structure, and the systems needed. And this is what most people call back office. And everyone that I've ever worked with has undervalued this part of the business. And it's a shame, because if you actually put some planning and some thought and some reasonable effort into these processes and the systems that are going to run your business. I mean, this is like the engine of your business, right? You can save yourself a lot of trouble. This even covers the compliance stuff and the systems you're going to need at different times. So maybe in phase 1 of your business, QuickBooks will do it just fine. But at phase 2, you're going to need a full like tier 2 ERP system, okay? But outlining that and seeing the need and planning for it in advance is really important. All right. So the how do we get there, this execution piece is going to include what's your org structure. So this also could change in different phases, right? A lot of times people start with solopreneur, sole proprietor, right? Or they do an LLC because it's easy, but it gives you some protection, right? But at a certain point, you want to transition to an S Corp or a C Corp, or maybe you have a partnership in the works. I never recommend partnerships. Please note, don't do partnerships unless you absolutely have to. They are riddled with problems. So this execution part will include your org structures and when, any governance and bylaws that are going to be needed. I work with a lot of nonprofits, and then C Corps also have some governance stuff. Your annual strategic planning you're going to do, those systems, tools, and processes, operations, accounting, HR, payroll, and your sales process and your marketing process. So this is really where all the meat of how you guys do what you're going to do to achieve the vision is planned for and outlined. Oh my gosh, where are we at for time? Perfect. Doing fine. I'm doing fine. Just a little out of breath. How are you guys doing? I feel like I'm like yelling at you all. All right. So the fifth business question, you guys, are we on track? Are we? This is all about accountability. And this is a huge gap, right? For solopreneurs, really small micro businesses. There's just not, they feel like there's not a good way to have a lot of accountability in their business. Now, sure, you can hire a business coach for that if you want to, but you can also use tools that are out there. There are free tools right now you can use to build accountability into your life and into your business. I use Asana for me. I love Asana. It works really well for me. It's free, you guys, up to even 25 people on your team. So it's pretty nice. Excuse me. So just make sure whatever accountability systems you bring in, that they're time-based, you have some financial ones, and that they're quantitative goals. And so that means you're using numbers and that they're very specific, right? So let me come up with an example of a good one. I wasn't doing anything to really create any leads. I'm not a salesperson. It's just not my thing. But I wasn't doing anything to kind of propel that forward, right? And so I created a goal that I do 5 reach outs a week to people, just to network, get to know them, make business friends, whatever. So even that is an accountability that's built in. Excuse me for just a moment. I'm getting the tickle in the throat. Yeah, so using Asana can help you, but you can even build yourself some goals just in a spreadsheet or a piece of paper. One company we worked at, we called them stats. So we had weekly stats that we did. So at the end of each week, we said every department and every individual had stats. So we had stats for the department and stats for the people. And you would say, hey, if you're in accounting, all month ends for all entities will be done by the 10th. Go for the 5th. And I'll explain that in a minute. But having these things set as goals that you come back to each week and take accountability for yourself is important. I'm dying over here. But this will also be where you review your budget to actuals and your projections to actuals as well. And I think this is a little bit of repeat. So your annual, quarterly, and monthly goals. And then this is what I wanted to talk about, but I am going to use some throat spray real quick. Please pardon me. Thank you. Isn't this cute? It's this Manuka honey and propolis spray. I don't know. It feels nice on this scratchy throat. Yeah, my husband got a cold. We finally leave. Okay, so everyone's been kind of on lockdown, right? So we finally leave the apartment and we go walk. We take the dog on a walk and we stop by this place. One time we go somewhere, husband gets a cold. Anyway, so I think he's given it to me. So my apologies. Okay, So something I mentioned was how I set goals with companies. And I learned this trick from a company where I was VP of Ops, and I kind of have stuck with it because I love it. But it's called Promise and Go For. And I'm probably not going to do it justice. We had this consultant that helped us with this, and she was a powerhouse. Let me see if I can convey to you how it works. So when you're setting any type of goal, if you don't make that goal, you basically failed, right? That sucks. Who wants to set a goal that it's like you won or you didn't win? Like, that's it. Like, I like having a 2-tier goal, okay? A 2-tier goal is the way to go. So a promise and a go for. What it means is the promise is what you are promising yourself and the universe, no matter what, you're going to make that number. And the reason it uses the word promise is because think of that word promise and the times you've used it in your life. You tell someone, I promise. It means something, right? So that word promise is powerful. And so when you use it when setting a goal for yourself or for a department or for your company, it's powerful. This is my promise. This is my BAM, my bare ass minimum. This is like, there are lots of different words for it, right? But I like saying it's my promise. No matter what, I'm going to do X. And then you have a go for, which is your stretch goal. But I'm going to go for this other number or this other, this other goal. And that means if you're really going for it, it's a go for. You're really going for it. If you're always going for your go for, guess what? You will always meet your promise plus. So that's psychologically how the 2-tiered goal should be working in your mind for your business. So your promise is your bare minimum, no matter what. You promise yourself, you promise your team, you promise the universe you're going to make it. And then your go for is you're going to give it your all. You're going to go like cuckoo and make that go for happen. And really, if you're operating like that, you're always going to meet your base goals. Okay? And then if you don't make your promise or your go for, don't make yourself wrong about it. Don't beat yourself up, but you do need to acknowledge it. You need to acknowledge, yep, that was a 0. Yep, I didn't meet that goal. And then recommit, okay, quickly. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about getting right back on track, okay? And then don't forget to celebrate the wins. Oh my gosh, and we're out of time. Look at that. 11:58 p.m. It's almost midnight for me. So if any of this sounded like fun to work on, just a reminder of doing this little workshop. And I've had a couple people ask me, oh my God, is this one of those Facebook challenges? No, okay? I am not having you guys come to be sold to, okay? This is an actual workshop. So if you want to continue the work, that's what this week in October is going to be. We're going to cover, a lot of the 5 business questions. You're going to get the template. And so if you want to get started, you can get started on your own easy living business plan using the 5 business questions. That's what we're going to do together. Okay. So if you're interested, you can go to profitlogics.com, send me a message, friend me. I have an open profile now. And so, if you want to connect and be business buddies, reach out, connect, all that good.